This is a little bit of a different stream. We finished Dark Souls. What I want to do today, mainly for YouTube purposes and for content creation purposes, is I want to create the Dark Souls trilogy boss ranking system. Let us begin. Pursuer from DS2. I think that Pursuer is probably... he's like the first big challenge of Dark Souls 2. And his arena... how cool is he? He's not that cool, to be honest. He is a difficult boss, I think, especially at an early stage of the game. And the fact that you get to face him at least once before... each time I fight against the Pursuer, I try to beat him before the actual boss arena. Alright, going back to... oh man, I have to put the Pursuer on the first... definitely not an S. I think it's too generous to give him an A. But B or C, I think, is where he belongs. So I'm going to put him in B for now. He's hard. There is a coolness factor to him. There is a gimmick factor to him, by the way, if you get the ballista thing. But I think that's a necessary evil. I don't remember the music. Actually, I need to put the headphones. Pursuer, Dark Souls 2, music. This is the song? It doesn't impress me. No. I don't give a shit. Alright, Pursuer goes to B, probably low B. The champion's Gravetender and Gravetender's Wolf. Champion's Gravetender. This was like... that's an okay fight, but you're just fighting a dude, honestly. I'm putting him on a D for now. Fighting dudes is an automatic like downgrade. It's still a pretty tough fight though. But, I don't know. D or E. I'll leave him at D for now. Bell Gargoyles. This is the 2 ones from Dark Souls 1. I think this is a classic. This has to go up to A. Like in second... E. Damn. Nathan. I don't think he's that bad. Like, there's going to be some bad bosses, by the way. So let's keep him at E for now. He can be a top high E. The Bell Gargoyles. I think Bell Gargoyles... going back to the document, there has to be something below boss difficulty, which is number 3, 4, and 5, which is importance to the franchise. Like how good, how valuable these bosses were to the franchise. And I think the Bell Gargoyles, even though they're not exactly cool, it's not a cool fight. I mean, the cutscene is pretty awesome. The boss difficulty is not that high. Like if you play it second run, he's easy, to be honest. But the importance the Bell Gargoyles have to the franchise and how he sets up for the rest of the games, like, okay, Dark Souls is going to be unforgiving. We're going to fill you up with baddies. I think Bell Gargoyles deserve to be pretty high. Bell Gargoyles, they deserve at least an A or a B. I'm going to keep it at A because I think it's important to the franchise. Next, we have the Burnt Ivory King. Burnt Ivory King from the DLC of Dark Souls 2. In terms of music, in terms of arena, is amazing. And the coolness factor of the boss... I don't think the boss is actually that cool. The fight is okay. The boss difficulty... it wears you down because you have to fight his little bitch boys beforehand. Like, the whole thing about you going with your bros down to the pits of hell... I like that a lot. Like, the whole feel, the coolness factor is off the charts in this fight. Then you go to with your bros to deal with chaos into the big fighting arena. You beat his stinky posse. And in the end... Yes. In the end, everyone is quiet as Sauron appears from the towers of chaos. Yeah. Burnt Ivory King is the one we're ranking. I'm ranking the Burnt Ivory King right now. He's from DS2. And the dude, he has a hell of a presence. Like, the way he enters, look at that shit. Look at that shit. Ain't that the fucking tightest shit you've ever seen in your goddamn life, Ponty? Damn. And the music also is one of the best. I could not recommend it high enough. I mean, the fight itself is challenging enough, but that's... I'm gonna leave that... It's gotta be a B. It's a B above the Pursuer. Oh, it should be an A. Nah, I'll leave it at a low A. Burnt Ivory King was a great boss, not gonna lie. I like the experience, but if I'm going to show you again my notepad, hello, Mr. Bedwetter, my notepad, like this is the ranking I'm going to go through. Because not only am I going to put the bosses in their tiers, I'm also going to rank them in each specific tier. And the coolness factor is number 1. It's really high. Then I go to boss difficulty, number 2, how hard it was. Then the importance to the franchise. That's why Bell Gargoyles is so high up, so far on the list. Then I got the music and the arena. Design is within cool factor? Yes. Cool factor, like how it feels, how it... no, I don't think it should be. How it feel, like the coolness factor should be on the fight itself. The design should be something entirely different. Where do we rank the design? Is it... I'm going to put the design underneath the importance to the franchise. Like... design. Then music. Then arena. Champion Gundyr is next. Champion Gundyr was a hell of an amazing fight. That's a high A. He was above Ivory King for sure because coolness factor, I think he's there. You revisit your old friend. Champion Gundyr is an amazing fight. Also the arena, all dark and everything, revisiting everything. It's awesome. The music is pretty good. And this is a good fight. Like the dude goes like on steroids and shit. Oh, this is a really good fight. Yeah, Champion Gundyr, I'm gonna put him even above the Bell Gargoyles. Yeah, Champion Gundyr, high tier. I don't think anyone can argue with that. He just ticks all the boxes. Executioner Chariot. Executioner Chariot should be either F. I don't think he's gimmicky enough to be considered a gimmick because you actually get to fight the boss, so it's not a gimmick. But it is a pretty lame fight. Like this is, I had a harder time fighting the goddamn mobs before the boss than the boss itself. Yeah, it's F tier for me. Ceaseless Discharge. Now I'm gonna put this guy on gimmick. He has good, cool design, but I am unforgiving with gimmick bosses. Gimmick just goes way down the end of the list. Now, on my playthrough, I actually didn't manage to do the gimmick. The thing where you have to hit his hand a couple of times and then he falls to his pit, to his death. I actually failed to do that. But either way, fighting this boss is always a gimmick. Basically, you either go into a corner of the map where he can't hit you and then you hit his little hand, or you go to the stairs and you go up and down the stairs and you hit his little hand, or you go to the doorway and you hit his hand again and he falls to his pit. Endless Defecation, as Ponty says, a clear gimmick boss. He's a bad boss. I hate him. Absolutely trashed here. Yorm the Giant. Another gimmick boss. I'm even starting to speak like Boston accent. You can fight Yorm without using the sword, sure, but it's not fun. The game really pushes you to using the sword. So I'm gonna put Yorm on a gimmick as well. And it just, I don't know, it's a shame because he is, again, both these bosses, by the way, they look amazing. The presentation and when you first see them, the oh shit factor goes way up, but the reality of it was a bit of a disappointment. Smelter Demon is cool. I do like Smelter Demon. I need to go again check my notes. He's cool. Yeah, he has a giant butthole with horns. He is difficult. Importance to the franchise, he wasn't very important. Boss design, whatever, it's just a dude in armor really, with a butthole for a face. The music I also don't remember, and the arena is annoying as fuck because it's so tiny. So I have a hard time putting Smelter Demon high. There is no music in this arena? Oh no, it's generic. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, Smelter Demon. I have to put him on the C. Like the only reason why he's so far up is because of his difficulty. Ancient Dragon. That's not a gimmick boss. He's not a gimmick boss. I would put Smelter at C personally. Yeah, good. Me and you, Ponty, we're on the same wavelength. Ancient Dragon, the one where you just hit his ankles. I don't think that counts as a gimmick. But he is at the bottom of the F rank. E, no way is he an F. Ancient Dragon. Ancient Dragon is trash. He is one hit kill. The lead up to reaching him is absolutely awful. The arena, whatever, it's just a big plate. I don't even remember the music, so it doesn't matter. He wasn't that cool. He's just a big ass dragon. You're saying that he's better than... No, man, no. I'd put him at the bottom of F. To me personally, he's bottom of F, but his difficulty is off the charts. Fine, let's put him at the top of F. But I refuse to put him on E. Ancient Dragon is S tier. Ponty, you deserve to be banned for such blasphemies. Dragon Riders are also pretty shit, not gonna lie. They're easy. Their coolness, they're basically just reskins. Importance of the franchise is none. Boss design is lame. Music is kind of shit. The arena is cool though, but yeah, I'm gonna put this actually on F. Okay, Dragon Riders are F, I think. Anyone disagree? This is a democracy. This is a democracy where I control the votes. It's like this is a Russian democracy. The Pharaoh Undead Legion. Actually, this fight was pretty legit. I think I have a hard time putting these guys on A. It's like it's either a high B or a low A. I think I'm gonna put them as a low A. They are a cool fight. Bat of Chaos, immediately gimmick. Which one of these is less gimmick than the other? I think that Ceaseless Discharge, like Yorm the Giant is the one least gimmick because you can actually fight him without using the gimmicks. Then is Ceaseless Discharge. Then is Bat of Chaos down at the bottom. Not even gonna bother with the videos. Demon Prince is a good fight. Demon Prince, like Michael Bay explosions mixed with demons, mixed with a lot of chaos and moving around. Oh my god, I think Demon Prince, I have to put him up high. I have to put Demon Prince at S. I love that fight. It was really good. And the music was also amazing, wasn't it? Oh, I have to not check it. I mean, I guess he's... It's just the explosions that, like the whole particle effects, the music. I remember I really enjoyed this fight, but maybe you're right. Maybe it's not an S. I had so much fun fighting him though. Alright, fine. You know what, Nathan? You kind of convinced me, but he is a high A. I'm going to put him at a high A, maybe not S tier. I feel like Dancer. Dancer is probably S tier for most people. But my experience was Dancer. I first shot her. I first tried her. That kind of influences my opinion. I think it's the boss design is off the charts. The coolness factor, off the charts. The importance of the franchise, I actually think that the Dancer gave Dark Souls 3 a mythos. Like the fact that people really, really like fighting her early in the game, kind of as they see her as a challenge to beat. I mean, there's a lot of reasons. Nathan, I'm not just like classifying the difficulty. Let's put the notepad back on. We have the coolness factor, then the boss difficulty, importance of the franchise, the boss design, the music, and the arena. And I think all of these, Dancer excels at. Booty level off the charts? Oh, for sure. For sure. But unfortunately, I'm not ranking the booty, but for sure. I'd say that this boss, like, it averages high on all of these rankings. What's the music? I think it was like this very somber music, right? Yeah, this creepy, somber background music with a burning church and it's so good. Like, this isn't an epic music, but it feels the mood so well. Oh, dude, for sure. This made it. I don't know. Dancer is the first S tier. Sorry. The importance of Dancer to the franchise, it nails it all. It might be a low S though. It's a low S, granted. Sif, the Grey Wolf. Because of coolness factor, I think I'm gonna put Sith on C. Let me go back to the notepad. Coolness factor, way up high. Top tier, S tier. Boss difficulty, that's an F. Sif, you just bully the dog around. You actually feel kind of guilty for just beating the shit out of Sif. Importance of the franchise, I actually think the fact that Sif is referenced in all 3 Dark Souls games. Is he referenced in 2? Probably is. I think that because of that, it means that the Sif was super important. The boss design is kind of lame, not gonna lie. It's just a dog with a wolf in its mouth. It's a wolf with a sword in its mouth. I don't remember the music, and the arena is pretty okay. Yeah, I think C is a respectable positioning for Sif. Ilana the Squalid King. I mean, I don't want to put it at an F because it's actually a boss fight, but it's an E. The reason, like, the fact that Ilana... Oh no, the Squalid Queen. Sorry, I'm getting confused. This is the DLC boss. It's actually pretty decent. I'm tempted putting her in C as well. Like when she summons dudes and everything. Oh, but it's kind of a boring fight. I'm going to put it at a D. The fact that I barely remembered her. Ilana, Squalid. Yeah, summoning the skeletons. But what are her attack patterns? She has like no attack patterns that are worthy of mention. Her biggest attack patterns is just summoning Velstadt. I actually think she deserves to be lower down on the rank. I think she might be... She's a D, I think. The summoning Velstat, I think, is pretty okay. Demon Fire Sage, that's an F. The Demon Fire Sage is either a low E or a high F. Because it's technically still a boss fight, but it's a shit boss fight. It's a reskin of an enemy. The area is shit. Let me pick up the notepad again. Let me see. Coolness factor, low. Boss difficulty, low. Importance of the franchise, low. Boss design, low. Music, I don't even remember it. And arena is shit. Yeah, he's an F. I'll put him below Ancient Dragon. Pinwheel, S. Pinwheel, I don't think you boys saw it, so I'm gonna pick something from my own channel. I fought against Ornstein and Smo, killed him second try, right? And on the second try, it was basically a hitless run. Let's go now to my fight against... There you go. This is my first fight against Pinwheel. I might actually get killed by Pinwheel. Live on stream. Alright. Wait, where am I? Hey, Sev. Shut up. Fuck off. I got killed by Pinwheel. So I died to Pinwheel, and then I went back to fighting him. Right? And this is what happened. Shit, he actually killed me again, but I killed him. Does this count? I'm waiting for the souls. So I killed Pinwheel twice. I died twice to Pinwheel. Legit live on stream. So Pinwheel has a special place in my heart. Coolness factor? Yeah, actually he isn't that bad a design. He looks pretty creepy. The boss difficulty obviously is F tier. Below F tier. It's absolute trash. Importance of the franchise, none. Boss design, I think boss design is pretty cool. The music is kind of different. I like it. And the arena is pretty cool. No, but Pinwheel he's an F, isn't he? He's a high F though. He's a high F. You know what, Pinwheel? I love you, mate. You're good. You're cool. The Duke's Dear Freya. In Dark Souls 2, Duke's Dear Freya was one of my favorite bosses, but upon revisiting it, I started to realize, oh, this is kind of a gimmicky boss. You just run around in circles and you hit his head. You hit his little headsies. He's not full-on gimmick, and he's not F tier, I think. And I do think that the lore behind him, because he has something related with Seath the Scaleless, right? I would say that Duke Dear Freya is an E. Like, he's below the Champion's Grave tender, but above Pinwheel and the Ancient Dragon. But yeah, I thought like I was gonna put him higher, like on a B or something, but actually he's kind of a shit boss. I don't remember much about his music. His arena is also meh. The lead up to him is annoying. What else we got? We got Ava, the King's Pet. This is actually a pretty good fight. I want to put him in B. Like the fact that he's invisible until you unlock a certain area, until you unlock a certain item. The fight is also pretty frantic. B is a bit generous though. But I don't want to put him on a high... I'll put him on a high C. He's above Smelter Demon for me. Yeah, I think that's fair. The worst thing about Ava the King's Pet is that the DLC then just basically used a reskin of this, and you fought two of them on the arena with Reindeer Valley. And that's the worst crime they could have done. Dragon Rider. Singular unit Dragon Rider is about an E. Super easy boss fight. And even he has a gimmick where you can make his fight easier. I think he's below Duke Freya. They're not even worth talking about. Death Eater Madir. Madir. My good old... I did like Madir fight. Should I put Madir on B? Like, the thing with Madir is, after you learn the patterns, it really does become super predictable. But again, isn't that with all Dark Souls bosses? S tier for me. My dear was... Oh, and it's so tanky. Oh, but the visual effects, though. I could never learn the patterns. S. So, going back to the list. You gotta look at the list. Coolness factor. It's another dragon. Boss difficulty, it's probably pretty high. It's high because he has a shit ton of HP and his attacks are super punishing. Importance to the franchise, not at all. It's an optional boss. Boss design... Oh no, sorry. The coolness factor is way high because of... He has this basically kaiju attack where his fire becomes laser beams. Oh, just that shit alone. Mamma mia. The boss design is a dragon. Music, I don't remember the music. And the arena was pretty... It's a big cave. I want to listen to the music. That's good shit right there. That's a good shit. And let me now look at the fight itself. That's cool. The coolness factor of this boss is way high, but I have a hard time putting him on. Okay, I'll put him in the. Now he's better than the Burnt Ivory King, but I don't think he's as impactful as the Bell Gargoyles from Dark Souls 1. And Champion Gundyr is, yeah, I think he's a high A. He's a mid tier A. Demon of Song, the frog dude from Dark Souls 2. His design is pretty legit, but I think I'm gonna put him on an E. I think he's a high E, to be honest. He has some cool attacks and he looks creepy as fuck, but he's a high E. The arena is just another cave area. The music, I don't really remember. Let's check it out. It's messy. Ornstein and Smough has to be S tier, right? It's iconic. It's absolutely iconic. I don't think anyone can argue with this, right? Coolness factor, it's goddamn cool. You're fighting a big dude with a hammer and a dude with a pointy stick. How much cooler can that be? The boss difficulty, for the first time playing it, insane, off the charts. This is almost a game breaker for many Dark Souls first triers. Like, not beating Ornstein and Smough, I think this is where a lot of people quit the game. So the boss difficulty is probably high. Importance to the franchise, come on. Not even worth mentioning. The boss design, dude's in armor. I mean, Smough looks like he has titty armor, so that's kind of... So, after that, the music, as Nathan was quick to notice, the music of Ornstein and Smough is top tier, and the arena is pretty cool. So yeah, it's gotta be S tier. Like, the importance to the franchise is so high on Ornstein and Smough. Yeah, no debate. Centipede Demon from Dark Souls Remastered. It's a low E or a high F. This guy's a shit tier. The song is shit as well. Centipede Demon is probably, yeah, a low E. Who's this? Throne Guardians. Throne Guardians. The problem, you know what the problem with the Throne Guardians are? They're not strong enough for the stage of the game that you're in. Like, you just wipe the floor with them. Low D, high E. Yeah, I'm feeling the same thing actually. I'm gonna put him on D, because like, if I wasn't so overpowered fighting them, I think they would be a cool fight. But I do think they're above the Demon of Song though. So yeah, I'm gonna keep them at a low D. You know, have the Squalor Queen some company. What else we got? Manus, Father of the Abyss. I like Manus a lot. My question is, do I put Manus as a high A or a low S? Manus is an amazing fight. The dude is crazy monkey mode. Okay, how do I feel about Manus in relation to the Demon Prince in Dark Souls 3? I think Manus is better than the Demon Prince. I think he's also about the same quality as Ornstein and Smough. I'm going to keep Manus on an S tier. I think Manus is so cool. That is a rather tough one, isn't it? His attack patterns are pretty cool. He's insanely hard. The arena, though, is kind of shit. Actually, let me hear the music in the arena thing. That might be the decider. Manus. Yeah, I don't think... But the design is cool. So let's revisit the notepad. The notepad of power. So Manus, coolness factor, I think he's really cool. The attacks are cool. His big hand is cool. His monkeying around is cool. His magic is cool. Boss difficulty is pretty high. Importance to the franchise, I don't think he's that important. Boss design is pretty legit, and the music and the arena are pretty low tier. So I'm gonna probably put him high A. I'm going to put him at high A. I think that is his rightful place. Moonlight Butterfly is an F, is a gimmick. He's a gimmick that is above the Bat of Chaos, though. Not even worth discussing. We good with the Moonlight Butterfly? Anyone needs to talk? We need to talk this through? Do we need to hold each other's hands? Nathan, you're saying that Moonlight Butterfly is an F. I think he's a gimmick, dude. It's a gimmick. Basically, you wait out his laser beams and then you boop his little head. Nah, he's gimmick. He's an F, really low F. Really? Everyone's saying an F. Look at him. I mean, definitely. All right, fine. Fine. You guys are... I'll put it in... I'll mercy put him in F. I didn't want to do this, but because the discussion now has arisen, the soundtrack. Also, it's a bridge combat, and Tukarem loves bridge combat. So yeah, you know what? Low F. You deserve it. You know what? I'm even going to put him above the Executioner's Chariot. You convinced me. Covetous Demon. Covetous Demon. Covetous Demon is F, right? But how F is he? Below Ancient Dragon. Aldia, first of the sin or whatever. Skull of the first sin. This is like an E, right? The tree boy at the end of Dark Souls 2. I'm gonna put him... I do like Aldia, and his whole thing about he spent the whole game with you. I like his voice, I like his look. I think he's better than the Champion's Grave Tender. But the boss fight is such a letdown. Especially since he's the canonical final boss of DS2. And the journey I went through just to fight him. It was hard. The Last Giant. Technically the first boss of DS2. The Last Giant. I think I'm going to put him on a D. I don't think he's a bad boss. He's just the first boss. He's a tree boy. He's beautiful tree boy. And the history behind him, like when you fight him later on the game, on the memory, as the king, and you beat him, when he's the king of the giants and you beat his ass, then you start the game and you fight him in the dungeons and he remembers you. That's why he's so enraged. That really resonates with me. I like that shit a lot. But he has a weak boss fight though. So I'm going to keep him at a low D. Personally, I think he's a low D. King Vendrick. I don't think King Vendrick is a gimmick, but he is an F tier. He's about like, he's Ancient Dragon tier. A. Are you going are you saying the Last Giant is A, or are you saying King Vendrick is A? Because King Vendrick is an F. I just don't know if he's better or worse than the Ancient Dragon. King Vendrick has an amazing soundtrack though, so he's better than Ancient Dragon. No. Yeah, the music is pretty good. I'm not gonna give him A. Come on. I might bump him up because of the music. King Vendrick. But I think that's enough to take him out of F, but I'm not gonna give him higher than an E. So if I'm gonna put him on E with a lore thing, that has to be around... Okay, you know what? He's gonna go next to Aldia, because Aldia is the same thing, right? No, I'm not gonna give him the C. You're mad, Nathan. Like, the arena is pretty good. The arena is good. The lore is good. The music is good. Everything else is F tier. The boss is boring, has a bajillion HP. It's basically a gimmick. Yeah, you don't think his music alone is worth even E tier. Yeah, but when you combine with the arena, with the whole infinite tombs full of the ancient kings looking at him, I think that's like the lore behind King Vendrick. Like he merits to be above F, but not above E, I think. You know what? I'm gonna put him in front of Aldia. That's as high as I'm willing to go. Nathan, I'm not budging on this. He's a high E. Demon of Song. Now I'm thinking that the Demon of Song is too far up. So I'm gonna put Demon of Song behind Aldia. There you go. The Rotten is not that good of a boss fight, but you can chop off his arms, and he looks cool as fuck. Shut up. He's probably a high D, right? High D, low C. The Rotten is big ass. He's probably low C. He's behind Great Wolf Sif for sure. Like, there's a lot of little things of the Rotten that I really enjoy. First of all, he's just a pile of bodies put together. He's the one that makes the little mannequins that poison you in Dark Souls 2. You can chop off his own arms. Before you enter the arena, you can hear him like moaning. Yeah, I think he's... you know what? I'm going to put him on C. I think he's actually pretty legit. The fight isn't that bad. But I'm going to put him behind the Pursuer. He's depressed. He's crying. Yeah, he gets a B. B is as high as I'm willing to go with the Rotten, okay? Vort of the Boreal Valley. Vort. He's like the first boss of DS3, right? No, Gundyr is the first boss. So Vort is like the first test of Dark Souls 3. I'm tempted to put him on C. He is pretty intimidating. He's pretty bulky. The way he moves around the arena. But after you get used to him, you start to realize, oh, he's not that tough actually. But he is intimidating. So I'm going to put him behind Sif the Great Wolf. I think he deserves to be in a C. He is unique for sure. Yeah, I think so. And also I played with his hammer most of the game, so I have to respect that. And didn't he have an amazing soundtrack? Comparing now to my voice, is it good? That is an amazing soundtrack. Amazing soundtrack. You know what, Vort? Nah, he deserves a high. He deserves a C. He deserves to be in C. Crystal Sage. Now, Crystal Sage, I think, I might be wrong, but I think this is the second boss I died the most to in Dark Souls 3. I think I died like nearly 17 times against Crystal Sage. I'm tempted to go back to the VODs and check it out. I died so many times. 12 times? Okay, then it wasn't the worst. I'm tempted to put her on D because if you think about it, I died a lot of times, but I think it's just because I was stupid as fuck. The boss combos, she has like 3 combos. She looks like a Digimon character, but I do like when we hit her, she kind of, her clothes fold in on herself and she vanishes. But the D is so generous. I'm gonna give her a low D out of spite. I don't think anyone can argue against that. The Royal Rat Vanguard. You're just beating the shit out of rats. Yundex Gundyr is the first boss in Dark Souls 3. Now, I have a few things to say. The coolness factor of this boss is pretty high because it really is impactful. It's a great way to introduce the franchise. The boss difficulty is not, obviously it's low. It's the first boss. But I would say that Yundex Gundyr is important to the franchise. I remember seeing, when I didn't play Dark Souls 3, I saw a lot of people I saw so many videos of this boss and the fact that he turned into a giant spaghetti monster with a rat for a face. I knew him so much basically because people just liked him. So I think he is important to the franchise. The boss design is kind of whatever, is a bit confusing and muddled. Music and the arena. The arena is cool and the music I don't rightfully remember. So I think out of respect, I'd need to put Yundex Gundyr. I think he needs to be either a C or a D, right? A high D. A high D or a low C. Should I put him behind Vort? 1 and 2, the first two bosses in Dark Souls 3 being on C tier. I think that's a really good start to the game. Yeah, I'm gonna put him at high C, at low C. I think he deserves that respect. Nashandra is low tier. I'm gonna put Nashandra even on F. She's gonna be behind Pinwheel. Nashandra, my problem with Nashandra is that she's technically the final boss of Dark Souls 2, right? She's your ultimate test. And first of all, is a boss that you don't really care about. Like in Dark Souls 3, you got the Soul of Cinder. I get it. It's the reincarnation of all the champions that lit the bonfire. And in Dark Souls 1, it's Gwen itself. You're fighting God when the whole game is about Gwen. But on Dark Souls 2, Nashandra is a whatever. You saw the queen. She's basically responsible to King Fendrick's fall. She has a big ass scythe. She's such a pathetic boss. I think that a high F is as high as she deserves to go. Taurus Demon. The Taurus Demon. I think Taurus Demon deserves respect though. Taurus Demon as either a D or a C. I'm gonna put Taurus Demon on a D. He's one of the first fights on Dark Souls 1. Yeah, he's a cool second boss, right? He gives you time to get, yeah, and it's an abridged combat. The way he introduces himself to the player is also pretty intimidating. You kind of learn about plunge attacks better. Let's put this guy behind the Last Giant, because I actually have a soft spot for the Last Giant. Next, we have Seath the Scaleless, and I hate Seath the Scaleless. He's one of the bosses I hate the most. I'm tempted to put Seath at a high F. Like in Dark Souls Remastered, I think Seath might be the worst boss. Right? Is there any other boss in Dark Souls 1 that is lower than him? Oh, Moonlight Butterfly. Yeah. Pinwheel is also pretty average, but Pinwheel is funny. Ceaseless Discharge is a gimmick and Bat of Chaos are gimmicks, so that doesn't count. Seath the Scaleless. I hate him so much, and it's so easy. The importance of Seath to the lore of Dark Souls is super high. I gotta give him a low E. He's too important to the lore. He technically appears in all 3 Dark Souls games, and I think he even appears in Elden Ring or whatever. So that alone is the only reason why it goes from F to E. Alright, I think I'm okay with that. Looking Glass Knight from Dark Souls 2. I like this fight. I personally had a lot more trouble with Nito, even with Divine Clubs. Nito, okay, we're gonna get to Nito later. We can't get sidetracked. Looking Glass Knight is a pretty cool boss fight. I would hate to play him with servers up. I would hate to. Playing against actual players, because he can summon them, is a gimmick that I'm glad I don't have to face. I think Looking Glass Knight is a low C. He's a cool fight. Moves around like a madman. Important notice, asterisk. I technically didn't beat all bosses from the Dark Souls trilogy. There are 3 bosses in Dark Souls 2 that I did not beat. Basically the multiplayer bosses. And these is one of these guys, I don't even know their names. What the hell? How do you call them? Afflicted Grave Robber, Ancient Soldier Varg, and Sira the Old Explorer. Yeah, to me, I hate multiplayer. I hate the concept of the multiplayer bosses. It's a gimmick. I'm gonna put these guys on trash tier. That's the reason why I'm not even gonna bother with them. And the lead up to them is always annoying. Nah, fuck that shit. Yeah, it's a DLC boss. It's basically a multiplayer boss. It's meant for you to go through an arena with your buddies and, you know, test yourself out with the boss at the end. But it's so boring. Most of them are reskins. It's not a good fight. It's a gimmick. It's a multiplayer gimmick. Capra Demon. Now this might be controversial, but he's a low B to me. Capra Demon is probably the boss that many people rage quit at in Dark Souls 1 Remastered. He's so annoying. The arena is purposefully bad, right? The music is pretty legit, and the Capra Demon, his introduction is really impactful. I remember the first time I played against him, I was so incredibly frustrated. And the dogs as well. Like, Capra Demon, 2 dogs are the bane. Yeah. I think he deserves a low B. He is impactful. Let me just double check his OST. If this music I think this music appears more often, but it's so horror based. It feels like I'm playing a Silent Hill game. Like this whole boss fight is basically he's optional though. Yeah, he is optional. But this whole boss fight it feels like a horror theme. It stresses you out. The whole experience is meant to stress you out, and I love that. It's well designed actually. You think it's horribly designed because it's so intrusive and tight and claustrophobic, but it all builds up with the theme. I think he's actually deserves a low B. What else we got here? We got it's the congregation from the congregation from Dark Souls 2 is the lowest of lowest Fs. It's not a gimmick. It's technically not a gimmick. It's an actual boss fight. He has mobs, he has HP. There is nothing here that is considered a gimmick. It's just a bad boss fight, okay? He's just the lowest F. If I could, I'd make a tier just for him and below F. But he's not a gimmick. Therefore, he deserves to be lowest F. He's probably the worst boss in all of the Dark Souls franchise that you actually fight. And that, using the same logic, the Royal Rat Authority needs to go up. Yeah, Royal Rat Authority. I think Royal Rat Authority is slightly better than this. Alright, fine. Now we've reached our favorite waifu, the Priscilla. Crossbreed Priscilla. She's a low D, right? She's an anime girl. She's very pretty. She has a scythe. She shows her feet. She has a furry fetish. The whole area and the lore behind her is legit cool. But the boss fight itself is so bad. I actually don't remember the music. I don't know if it's good or bad or not. I don't think she's bad enough to go to E, but she is low D. Dark Lurker. This is difficult for me. I think Dark Lurker is a high C. Dark Lurker is difficult, and he is cool looking, cool boss design, and the music also sounds like a Final Fantasy boss. He looks like a Final Fantasy boss. But when you get into the weeds of it, his attack patterns are basic as shit. He's only difficult because he splits himself into 2 and then you're fighting 2 bosses. But besides that, I don't really care that much about him. Like, I don't really have anything else to put him, but I will give him a high C on difficulty alone. Asylum Demon. Why is Asylum Demon so high? Going back to my notepad. The coolness factor, whatever. He's not cool. He's not particularly cool. His boss difficulty is not particularly hard. Boss design is not really that interesting. The music I don't particularly remember. The arena is cool, I guess. So the only reason why the Asylum Demon is S tier is solely because of the importance of their franchise. I believe with my hardest of hearts that Asylum Demon is the reason why Dark Souls is a franchise that it is today. Like this model isn't new. Like there was a Dark Souls before Dark Souls, Demon Souls, right? Or Demon's Ruin or whatever it's called. I think it's Demon Souls. And that game didn't actually get picked up, but Dark Souls 1 did. And I think it's because of the Asylum Demon. The impact this motherfucker had is legendary. He is a fan favorite. He appears on the third game. He's a poster boy of Dark Souls. I don't think you can take the S tier away from him. He's a low S tier, but he is an S tier. I'm surprised that my S tiers are so bad so far. I mean, Dancer belongs here, I think. Iron Golem, he's an F. Isn't he? I mean, it's fun pushing him. I guess it is fun pushing him. No, he's a high F. There you go. Sorry, Iron Golem is not good. No, he's all right. He's all right. He deserves to be behind Seath. Actually, he deserves to be in front of Seath. He deserves to be in front of the Centipede Demon too. He deserves to be in front of the Dragon Rider too. And Seath deserves to be in front of these two as well. I hate him, but Dragon Rider and Centipede Demon are just bad. All right, fine. He's a middling E. I think that's as high as I'm willing to go. You wail on his legs until he loses balance. I mean, it's funny, but it's not, that's not a trait of a good boss. What do we got here? Sin. I love this boss fight. I really did. Oh, dude, I have to put him behind Manus, don't I? Sin was a really good DLC boss. Sin. The music is epic, by the way. And this boss actually feels like you're fighting a dragon. He breaks the whole arena apart. He poisons the shit out of you. He's pestilence in play. The soundtrack of Sin might be in my top 3. Might be in my top 3 Dark Souls games. It's so good. I have to put Sin right behind Manus. I have to. No debate, no discussions. Sanctuary Guardian. I think he's a cool looking boss. And he's pretty tough. I'm going to put him in B. You know what? This Sanctuary Guardian, he deserves to be behind a Pursuer. He's a cool boss, has a bajillion combos. He's tough. He's the introduction to the DLC, basically, and he beats your ass too. Like, you learn quickly that the DLC is no joke. So I like the Sanctuary Guardian. He's not important to the story, but I do like him. I just like him. He deserves to be in the B rank. Who is this? Sister Frida with her puppy. Her puppy that loves cereal. Now we're getting to the good ones. Shit. I think she's my first legitimate S boss. I mean, the combos are amazing. The cinematic alone is gosh darn A tier. S tier. Oh no, she's S tier. She deserves to be S tier. Sister Frida is really good. S for Frida. Yeah. I don't think we can discuss that. She's good. Guardian Dragon. Which one's this? Is this a DS2 one or is this the DS3 one? What's a Guardian Dragon? Oh, it's the chicken in the jail. Okay. Yeah, chicken in the jail is F tier. And you get to fight his clones later. So I think I'm gonna put him in front of the chariot. At least it's still a boss fight. Alright, I think that's undisputed. What else we got? Black Dragon Calamite. Black Dragon Calamite is a tough fight actually. But I'm gonna put him on a low B for one particular reason. And I'm gonna put that reason up on screen because that shit is an amazing cinematic. Where is it? Show me. Yes, this cinematic is one of the best in Dark Souls. Let's take a look at it. The dragon, the giant getting up, the blind dude getting up. Oh, I'm even going to increase the volume. That is so good. It's one of the best cinematics in the game. That alone is the reason why I'm putting Black Dragon Calamite so high up. The boss fight itself, the arena, let me go back to the coolness factor of the boss. It's not really that cool. It's actually kind of annoying. The boss difficulty is average to high. Importance to the franchise, none. Boss design is a dragon with a spear through it. I don't remember the music, and the arena is just a water pit. Yeah, but that cinematic, man. That coolness factor for the cinematic. It deserves to be a low B. What else we got? Aldrich, Devourer of Gods. I like that fight. That was a cool fight. That's an A. It's an A, and it's above the Burnt Ivory King. Yeah, it's in front of the Dark Eater Midir, I think. I liked Aldrich. And the lore where Aldrich basically ate Gwendolyn, or Dark Moon Gwendolyn. I thought that was really cool. Velstadt, the Royal Aegis. He looks cool. He carries around a big bell. I'm going to put him on a C. He's like Vort level of coolness. And I'm going to put him behind Vort. Like, Vort is introduction to the Dark Souls 3. So he's not technically hard, but he's impressive. Velstadt is the end of Dark Souls 2. And he should be impressive, but he's kind of not. So that's why I don't think I can put him any higher than that. I don't remember his soundtrack. Let me just quickly check it out. Velstadt boss fight. Oh, his introduction is actually pretty legit. Cinematic as shit. This cinematic might change my mind. The cinematic is cool. Am I about to beat some ass? Yeah. I'm gonna stick with my decision. I think a cinematic is good, but besides that is Dark Sun Gwendolyn. All right, I need your help, chat. To me, this is a gimmick. You're walking down a corridor and beating his ass. I would put him above Bed of Chaos, but not higher than this. And do we have any naysayers? Dark Sun Gwendolyn is just a corridor fight. And a bad corridor fight at that. Hide behind a pillar, move forward. Hide behind a pillar, move forward. I barely count this as a boss fight. Low F. Low F! You just have to chase after it. No, man, this is a gimmick. This is gimmick mode. Who was this guy? Oh, it's the Half-Light and the Spear of the Blabby-Boobity-Boop. It's the second to last boss of the DLC in Dark Souls 3. Whatever. This is a less interesting looking Last Night. I'm going to put him next to Seath. There you go. Mitha, the Baneful Queen. To me, this is a low E or a high F. Because this is a boring fight. The Poison Pit is annoying, though. I think I'm going to put him as a low E. I actually think he's better. She's better than the Dragon Rider. Yeah, she's better than the Dragon Rider and the Centipede Demon. But just barely. High F. No, if I have Dragon Rider and the Centipede Demon on E, then she deserves to go on E as well. Like, F is for trash tier enemies. Pinwheel, Nashandra. Nashandra is a bit cruel. It's cruel putting Nashandra. I think I just put Nashandra here because she's supposed to be the end boss and it's so underwhelming. Ancient Dragon deserves to be here. Covetous Demon deserves to be here. Demon Fire Sage because he's a reskin. Dragon Rider's reskin. Moonlight Butterfly, true. Guardian Dragon. Yep. Everything in F tier deserves to be here. So yeah, Baneful Queen deserves to be on E. Artorias! Artorias was such a cool fight. And I died so many times to him. I didn't expect to die as much as I did. Is Artorias a low S or a high A? Because I will put Artorias above Manus. To me, Artorias, like the whole mythos about him, his cinematic introduction is also really good. S tier for you, Ponty? Oh, I'm tempted to do the same. But I would put him as a low S. King Artorias, oh, and the importance of the franchise. I just need one more. The arena is pretty cool. I'm just going to check his soundtrack to see if it's good. Artorias. Like, it's not bad. But compared to the other themes that we've already heard, it's so subdued. Oh, but he has an epic fight. He's like the first entry on the S tier. That was a fun fight. Like, Sister Frida was a challenging fight. A Silent Demon is just the poster boy of Dark Souls. Ornstein and Smo are like the trademark best fight of Dark Souls. Dancer is so far the highest rank. Oh, what the hell am I doing here? Sister Frida deserves to be in front of these two. Artorias as well. Come on, Artorias. Artorias deserves to be in front of Asylum Demon. Dragon Slayer armor. To be honest, I was not that impressed with the Dragon Slayer armor. The only thing cool about this is the armor itself. It looks legit. But the boss fight was kind of meh. It was middling. Should I put him... I'd put him above the Throne Guardians. Yeah, I think that's a good place for him. Ocelot, the Consumed King. This boss was just a Bloodborne boss. You think he's a B? I don't think I'm gonna put him that high, but a C probably. I would, yeah, C. To be honest, a D wouldn't do him any harm. I'm tempted to put him below. He's an optional boss. He's related to Sith the Scaleless. His lore apparently is batshit crazy. I don't know it. So you know what? Because of the lore, let's put him at a C. Let's put him in front of Valstat. But I don't know it. I just don't want to get people angry and shouting at me. Supposedly he's meant to hit you with a baby, but they didn't code that in. Cowards, I say. Gwyn, Lord of Cinder. The area is amazing. Okay, let's go. Let's bring it up. Let's bring up the notepad. Coolness factor. Really cool. Boss difficulty, average to high. Importance to the franchise, pretty important. Boss design, dude in armor. I'm not gonna, you know, toot his horn too much. Music, mamma mia. That music, bling bling blong. And the arena is also pretty legit. So with all that, I think we have to put him on A, right? He has to be A. I don't think he deserves to be on S tier. Is he the highest A, or does he deserve to be an S? I've never had any troubles beating the shit out of Gwyn. A, I guess. I'm gonna put him at a high A. I'm gonna put him in front of Man. No, I'm not. Manus is better. Sorry, but Manus is better. If Manus is high A, then Gwyn should be A as well. Let's go to the Fume Knight. Easy. Let's go. Done. Fume Knight is a hell of a fight. So much fun. I'm gonna put Fume Knight in front of Artorias even. Fuck, I'm gonna put Fume Knight in front of Ornstein and Smo. Fume Knight is legit peak Dark Souls when it's working at its best. It's a fight where you're just brawling with a dude, running circles around him. You don't want to get too far away. You want to stay up close to his balls and just beating the shit out of him. Fume Knight soundtrack. I don't remember it, oddly enough. Let's check it out. The arena is also pretty cool, being inside a huge furnace. The soundtrack doesn't really impress me, to be honest. It doesn't. But everything else, super high tier to me. Such an amazing fight. Okay, Volnir is a gimmick, right? Let's put Volnir in front of the Bat of Chaos. But Volnir is basically a gimmick. I don't think we have anything to discuss here. Ruined Sentinels. I think Ruined Sentinels are a low B. Ruined Sentinel is Dark Souls 2 beating your ass. I think this is when Dark Souls started going well. Until this point, Pursuer is also pretty good in Dark Souls 2, to be honest. Yeah, and Ruined Sentinels is a good gank fight, for sure. Now, I think that a lot of people hate the gross ball tree from Dark Souls 3. I actually enjoy that fight. I'm tempted to put gross ball tree at C. Maybe it's recency bias. Maybe it's because I've played Dark Souls 3 for the first time recently, but I had a good time. And it was such a creepy little monster boss. Like with a hand popping out of it. It was gross. I loved it. Nah, I think it's a C, and I think I would even put it... I would put it above... I'd put it behind Vort. Probably it's a controversial opinion. I like the tree. Popping his zits. Is it a gimmick? Kind of is. But you could beat his ass, and I almost did do a first run where I was just beating his hands. Fuck it. I think it's a gimmick. You guys are gonna... Fine. But he's the best gimmick. It's a gimmick, though. You're right. Basically, you just have to pop his zits. It's a gimmick. Just because I had fun with it, I cannot be biased. This is important analytical data for YouTube. I will not be biased. Rotten Tree is a gimmick. Nameless King is S tier. Is probably the second fight I had the most fun with. Is S tier, amazing boss fight. Yeah, but Nameless King is S tier, highest S tier so far. I think so far it's the best fight in the list. So much fun. The soundtrack is goddamn amazing. He looks awesome. You beat his little parakeet. The arena is also pretty cool. It's such a good fight. The soundtrack is so good. And it's pretty good. I'm not gonna go crazy. Yeah, it's a good fight. The most death for you too, right? Yes, I died 23 times on Nameless King. It's the most I died. So he deserves my respect, if nothing else. now we have the what's it called? The Gaping Dragon. Gaping Dragon. Just because he looks cool, I'm gonna put him above Seath the. I'm gonna put him above Mitha, the Baneful Queen. He looks really cool, and his introduction is really impressive. But besides that, it's not a good boss fight. I'm not even gonna spend time because I'm running out of time, and I still have like a shit ton of bosses to go. Old Demon King. Old Demon King was alright. There's so much explosions and Michael Bay shit. It was a bit annoying though. It's really hard to fight him without... Like, he always punished you, basically. You just had to be cautious with your healing. So I'm going to put him under Looking Glass Knight, I think. Yeah, low C, I think is fair. The Lost Sinner, B, and above the Pursuer. I don't think Lost Sinner quite reaches A scale. On New Game Plus, Lost Sinner is insanely hard. But I'm talking about standalone game. Lost Sinner is probably the best... It's the best easy fight of the game. Also, I think it's the boss I died the most to in Dark Souls 2. I had a really hard time getting used to the Great Sword fighting the Lost Sinner for some reason. I died a shit ton of times. Yeah, the Ferrum Undead Legion deserves the A, and Lost Sinner deserves the B. Four Kings is kind of shit. It looks cool, and I like the whole thing about diving into the abyss to kill them, but they're not impressive, man. I think they're an F. They're above Pinwheel, but they're an F. I don't have much time for the Four Kings. I feel like after what are the bosses in Dark Souls 1? After Ornstein and Smough, let me see how I order them. Lord of Cinder, Gwen Lord of Cinder is high. Yeah, the Dark Souls 1 bosses after Ornstein and Smough, besides Sif the Scaleless, I guess. They're all super low ranking. They're all really boring. Seath the Scaleless is here. The Four Kings are here. The Bat of Chambers is a gimmick. Yeah, there's not much. The Dark Souls 1 really peaked at Ornstein and Smough, in my opinion. Not counting the DLC. The DLC is pretty amazing. Ancient Wyvern. This is a gimmick boss, right? It's the one from DS3. The one where you just jump onto his head and kill him. Yeah, this is Bat of Chaos level of shithousery. Nothing else to say. It's just a bad boss fight. Stray Demon is just a reskin, so he's low F. Like, at least where was the other one? The Fire Sage, whatever. Yeah, the Demon Fire Sage. Nah, they're both the same quality of bad. Scorpion Tashnashka. She's also pretty lame, to be honest. I'm gonna put her on an E. I'm gonna put her in front of the Baneful Queen, but behind the Gaping Dragon. I'm just speeding through these now. Skeleton Lords, this is an F. Behind the Congregation. In front of the Royal Red Vanguard. It doesn't count as a gimmick. Like, the Skeleton Lords from DS2 doesn't count as a gimmick, but they're so shit poor. Yeah, Nashka is off-brand Quelaag for sure. What else we got here? We got... Oh yeah, this is the multiplayer boss number 2. Get the fuck out of here. Royal Rat Authority. It is Nathan's favorite. The Royal Rat Authority. Like, I don't even want to look at Nathan. I don't want to know what he's writing. Royal Rat Authority is an F. How bad is he though? S tier. Why does everyone love the Royal Rat Authority? Why? It's a putrid... Why debate? It's a putrid Sif fight. The only interesting thing about the Royal Rat Authority is the fucking rats in the beginning of the arena. If you don't kill those rats that leave you toxic, you're basically fucked. Kill the rats, the boss is easy. The Blue Smelter Demon, I'm gonna skip ahead, is also gimmick tier. Get that shit out of my face. It's a multiplayer boss. I don't want to deal with it. Where did I put the Royal Rat Authority? Oh, he's still here. Dude, he's probably in the same rank as the Covetous Demon. You know what? I'm gonna put him above Covetous Demon. I'm gonna lose a subscriber today. No fucking way. C at lowest. C, Royal Rat Authority. No. Alright, you know what? Just because. Let's take a look at this. Okay, see, this guy immediately, he recognizes the main challenge of this arena. Kill the little mouses and deal with the boss with a big bonking hammer. What majestic theme. There is none. Like even the orchestral piece for this fight is like the composer's like, doom, ba-doom. Is this good enough? Fuck it. I'm on a deadline. I gotta go. Right, see you, bros. I stick by my notes. The only thing good about this boss is the arena is actually kind of cool, but nah, he's an F. He's above Covetous Demon. No, look at his model. No, please. Nathan's just begging with me. Please, no, look at his model. Look, it's a big dog. It's like a Sith with STDs. Deacons of the Deep. This is also F tier. Right, Deacons of the Deep is bad, but he's not Royal Rat Authority bad. Also, he's not Skeleton Lords bad. They are a gimmick. You have to find the glowing one. It's not a gimmick because you have to fight him. It's shit easy, but it's not a gimmick. Like that's the same thing with the Royal Rat Vanguard, where you have to find a rat with a mohawk. It's not a one-shot kill, basically. It's easy to beat his ass for sure, but you have to beat his ass. So Deacon is technically an F tier, not a gimmick. Slave Knight Gale. Slave Knight Gale was, I had so much fun with him. So much fun. Definitely S tier. I think he's above Nameless King. Like, the thing with Nameless King, my main distinction with Nameless King and Slave Knight Gale. Nameless King had bullshit attacks that basically one-shotted you. The Slave Knight Gale didn't have those bullshit attacks. All his attacks felt fair. He was just a basic madman. It really felt like a brawl. You were fighting for the ages and you fought so long. It was such a fun fight. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. So Slave Knight Gale is up high. Gale is so fair. Yeah, Gale is he's a really well made boss fight. He had his automatic crossbow. Yeah, he has a machine gun. How can you not like him? Amazing fight. Okay, so Pontiff Silvani or whatever his name is. Apparently this is one of the hardest fights in Dark Souls 3, right? I bulldozed this guy like second or third try. I didn't realize he was that hard. He was a cool fight, I guess, and I like that he split apart, but I have a hard time putting him above E. So I'm gonna put him behind. Fine, he's low D. He was awful when I did it. Yeah, that's the thing. Apparently Pontiff, there's these moments where Pontiff can be really hardcore. Apparently he was super forgiving to me. I beat his ass easily. He is a cool boss though, and he has this kind of like Star Wars feel to it. Let's see him. Pontiff. Like, I beat this guy like third try, I think, but I got completely destroyed by the Dark Sage, or the Crystal Sage, or whatever her face is. Like, this looks like a fucking Star Wars fight. The arena is also gorgeous. I didn't realize the soundtrack was also kind of legit. It's so melancholic as well. I like that shit. I like him. I beat his ass, but I like him. Did I put him at C? No? He deserves to be at C. You got promoted. Way to go. I one-shot Crystal Hat Wizard. Lol. Yeah, I didn't. Not even close to it. Pontiff should be at B at least, in my opinion. Great design, arena, and music. Is he getting upgraded? I mean, I feel like I didn't get the experience I should have. I feel like I skipped class on this day. You know what? Let's put him high C. No, I'm not gonna put him on B. Not for me. Personally, not for me. But he should go. He should be next to Vart. I think that's okay. That was my playthrough with it, at least. Nito! My boy Neats. Nito beat the shit out of me. Okay, so about Gravelord Nito. Love the lore. He looks like a big mothball, to be honest, so I don't think he's that interesting looking. His face thing with all the little skeletons is cool, but besides that, they feel like they just smudged the rest. The arena fight isn't that interesting. He's just annoying because of the skeleton mobs. I think Nito is actually a low tiering enemy. I'm gonna put him above Derduk's Freya. He is annoying as fuck. He's not a good boss. Now, Old Iron King is an F. We've been through this. You technically fight him, but he's not a good fight. I'm gonna put him above the Deacons of the Deep, but below Executioner's Chariot. It's a really lazy fight. The Old Iron King is Dark Souls 2, like one of the big souls. Such a lazy boss fight. His introduction is cool though, but It's so disappointing that he deserves the lowest F possible, barring the shit tier boss fights where you just wail on them. What do we got next? We got the Prince of Lothric. I think this guy's an A. Is it an A? Is it high B? It's like Lost Sinner quality for sure. The Princes of Lothric. I love the teleportation thing. It's strange that not many bosses in Dark Souls do that, or they don't do it like Dragon Ball Z style, where they teleport behind you and attack you. Like most of the teleporting bosses go to another corner of the arena or something. Princes of Lothric was kind of a cool fight. A bit easy though. Did I first try it? I think I did first try it. So I think he deserves a B. I'm going to put him behind Lost Sinner though. I think Lost Sinner is a really good boss fight. What else we got here? Soul of Cinder. First try! Soul of Cinder. I don't want to put Soul of Cinder on A. But he beat my ass so many times. I think Soul of Cinder is better than... At least it's a more challenging fight than Gwen. And the fact that I like the lore behind him too, where he basically represents all the champions before. I think that's a really cool concept. But the dude is so fucking erratic, so random. I felt like especially because I was wielding a heavy strength weapon, and I always felt punished. I was punished every attack I made. It was just basically managing my heals. It was so gosh darn annoying. Maybe it's just me being salty, but I refuse to give him more than an A. But he's a high A though. Definitely high A. Giant Lord. Nah, Giant Lord is... Where did I put the other giant? The other giant I put... Oh, the last giant I put it on D. Giant Lord is just a reskin, but I don't want to put him on F. I want to put him on D because I like the lore of him. Where do I put him? Iron Golem quality? I think it's Iron Golem quality. Is it better or worse than Iron Golem? I'm going to say it's better. I like the lore, but it's just it's kind of a lazy fight. And also the arena is kind of muddy and lame. Old Dragon Slayer. I think this is from Dark Souls 2 in the Heidi Tower. Also rehash of Dark Souls 1 nostalgia. So I'm going to put him on E. I don't think he's a bad boss fight. I think he's just uninteresting. And I'm going to put him behind the Iron Golem. You know what? I'm going to put Giant Lord a bit lower down. You convinced me that he's not as... He is probably... Is he Gaping Dragon bad? He's about this Scorpion Nashka bad. All right, let's put him in front of Nashka. Scorpioness Nashka. Scorpioness Nashka is not that bad. Her biggest sin is being a revamp of Quelaag. So let's do that. Sir Alone. Sir Alone is, in my opinion, the best fight in Dark Souls 2. That is S tier for me. But I am going to put him... I'm going to put him behind Nameless King. It's such an intense fight. I love it. Let's take a look. It looks beautiful. The arena is so gorgeous. It's basically, you're fighting Sekiro. The music is pretty subdued as well. But this fight is really cool. It's my favorite Dark Souls 2 fight. And this Sir Alone basically just keeps jumping and he just keeps going at you, and I love that shit. So yeah, he to me is S tier as well. We got 3 left. Flexile Sentry, this is F. F tier, and he's F tier. He's kind of cool looking, I guess. I'm gonna put him in front of the Demon Fire Sage, but behind Covetous Demon. The arena is awful. The soundtrack is non-existent. You actually get to fight him later on, which is always a bad sign. So now, Chaos Witch Quelaag. I think Chaos Witch Quelaag deserves a place of respect. I'm gonna put her between Demon Prince and Sin, the Slumbering Dragon. The thing about Quelaag is, let me bring up my notepad. Coolness factor, way up. Booby lady, right? Boss difficulty, I guess she can be pretty hard, but it's pretty average. Importance of the franchise, big booby lady, everyone loves Quelaag, and the whole whatever, the Sisters of Chaos thing plotline. The boss design, again, booby lady. I don't remember the music, and the arena. The arena is fine, really. It's just big spider den. But the thing is, it's just the mythos behind Quelaag. People have so much love for her. And she is memorable, I think, because of that. So, yeah, she deserves an A tier. In front of Demon Prince, but behind Sin the Slumbering Dragon, just because Sin, that soundtrack is so good. And we finish with a fart, Belfry Gargoyles. This is an F. In front of Royal Red Authority, just to spite Nathan a little bit longer. The Belfry Gargoyles is just a remake of the Bell Gargoyles from Dark Souls 1. Only less pretty and more mundane. But it's still a difficult fight, though. They can beat your ass if you're not quick. Alright, so I think I'm pretty happy with this list. Now, let's go from worst ranks to highest ranks. The 3 DLC online multiplayer bosses from Dark Souls 2. Bed of Chaos, followed by Ancient Wyvern, the one where you just do a maze run and then you jump on his head. High Lord Wolnir is followed immediately after, where you just break his bracelets. The Dark Sun Gwendolyn is pretty gimmicky. You're basically walking down a corridor. I think the whole corridor thing is why it's a gimmick. Otherwise, it would be an F tier. Following my rules, this should be F tier. Alright, it's F tier. You technically do beat his ass. It's just a boring ass fight. So I'm going to put him at the end of F tier. I think that's fair. Okay, High Lord Wolnir, then Ceaseless Discharge, then Yorm the Giant, then... And I'm very sad, but the Cursed Greatwood is a gimmick boss. I think it's a really cool gimmick boss, but it's a gimmick. Therefore, he's at bottom of the list. Then Dark Sun Gwendolyn, because it's just a corridor fight where you beat her ass. Then you have the Congregation, the S2, absolutely shit tier. Royal Red Vanguard, shit tier. The Skeleton Lords, shit tier. Deacons of the Deep, shit tier, but pretty. Cool area. Really cool area. Old Iron King, shit tier. It's lazy. Executioner's Chariot, to be honest, it's really ridiculously easy. The arena is more annoying than the boss fight itself. Guardian Dragon is the parakeet thing on Dark Souls 2. The Red Dragon, lame. Moonlight Butterfly, very lame boss, but at the very least you have to admit that it has a cool soundtrack and a cool mood to it. So you know what, it deserves a little bit higher, mid-tier F rank. Dragon Riders is just a reskin of the Dragon Rider. Stray Demon and the Demon Fire Sage is just a reskin of the Asylum Demon. Flexile Sentry is just a boring pirate fight that it's intimidating, but then it turns out to be super easy. Covetous Demon is just Jabba the Hutt on steroids. Royal Red Authority, the biggest challenge is the fucking 6 rats that are in the beginning of the level. After that, it's okay, walk in the park. Belfry Gargoyles, it's a rehash of the Bell Gargoyles from Dark Souls 2. Ancient Dragon, yeah, nothing to say here. It's just a big annoying dragon where you hit his toes for 2 hours until he dies. Nashandra, for the final boss of DS2, officially. Unofficially the final boss of DS2. It's monstrously disappointing. Pinwheel is a really fun boss, but to be honest, it is shit weak, therefore it deserves to be an F tier. And the 4 Kings are they're weak as well. You just beat their asses. Centipede Demon is actually a boss fight, but the arena is a trash tier. The boss design is also bad. Dragon Rider, whatever, it's a dude in armor. Mitha, the Baneful Queen, she throws her head at you like a grenade. It's cool. Giant Lord, the lore of him remembering you when he goes into the dungeon is cool. Scorpion Nashka is off-brand Quelaag. Gaping Dragon, nothing to say. Seath the Scaleless is kind of boring. Half-Light is also just a dude. Old Dragon Slayer is just Ornstein solo. Iron Golem is Iron Giant with balance issues. Dear Duke Freya is unfortunately incredibly easy. Just go around in circles, hit her head. Gravelord Nito is also kind of annoying. It's just a mob boss fight. Champion's Grave Tender, they're kind of cool, I guess, but it's kind of Sif light on Dark Souls 3. Demon of Song is cool looking boss and can be average challenging, but deserves the E rank. Alia First of Sin, cool looking boss, but also pretty lame in terms of difficulty. King Vendrick is super easy, but you just walk around beating his ass. The music and the setting, gorgeous, and also the lore is kind of sad. Therefore, he deserves to be high E. Crossbreed Priscilla, anime waifu, Nothing else to say. Crystal Sage. Looks like a Digimon character, but beat my ass so many times. It deserves. That's why it's so high in the ranking. Taurus Demon. He's like the first actual boss of Dark Souls Remastered, and it's a good introduction. It scares the shit out of you. It's cool. The Last Giant. I like him personally. I like the Last Giant storyline, and as the first introduction to Dark Souls 2, the first boss, I think. I think he's a good boss fight. The Throne Guardians, or whatever. I think the only problem with these guys is you only face them when you're super overpowered late game, and they don't scale well against you. But they are a cool design. Husband and wife fighting you. Mr. and Mrs. Smith getting their asses beat by you. Dragon Slayer armor. I like the armor. Ilana's Squalid Queen. I like her summons. Old Demon King. I like his Michael Bay explosions. Looking Glass Knight. I like that he summons players. I think that's a cool, technically a gimmick, but it's interesting boss fight. Also, the arena is kind of cool. The first boss of Dark Souls 3 sets the tone really well. On Yondex Gondir. Velstedt, the Royal Aegis. Really cool intro cinematic. I like him. Oseros, the Consumed King. Batshit crazy, but apparently the lore is really frantic. The fight is okay. Also, the dude keeps speaking at you. Kind of like a Bloodborne boss, so I like him. Pontiff, I beat his ass, but, he has a place in Dark Souls 3 lore. Vart is pretty cool. Like, as Dark Souls 3 first hard boss, he really sets the tone. Amazing soundtrack. Vart is nice. Sif is the goodest of wolves. Smelter Demon is really tough on Dark Souls 2. Beat him first try though, never forget it. First try save all times. Ava, the King's Pet, also pretty cool fight. I like the whole mechanics around it. Dark Lurker looks like a Final Fantasy boss fight, and he's only so high up in the tiers because he's kind of hard. But besides that, after you're used to fighting him 2 or 3 times, you can see how predictable he is. Ruined Sentinels, we're starting to the B. Now these are the Dark Souls classics. B up, all these classics. Ruined Sentinels are probably one of the best gank bosses in Dark Souls 2. Black Dragon Calamite, one of the DLC Dark Souls 1, can do no wrong. Capra Demon is a really good horror scene in Dark Souls Remastered. I like it a lot. The Rotten, he's just fun. The whole entering into this pit, and he's building the little statues, and he's kind of sad and miserable, and you can chop off his arms, and his design, I like him. He's not particularly hard, but I do like him. Sanctuary Guardian, he is a good introduction to the DLCs in Dark Souls Remastered. He goes around like a mad lunatic, jumping and shooting shit at you, and cool design generally. The Pursuer, I think this is like the staple of Dark Souls 2. This is the first boss that beats your ass, and he's a good design. And also like his sword. The Princess of Lothric, the teleportation Son Goku shit. Lost Sinner, a really cool fighting sequence. I like bosses that go into your face, even though he beat the shit out of me so many times. Lost Sinner is the highest B tier, and arguably he should be A tier. Then we have the Farron Undead Legion. I did like them. I like their concept. I actually didn't have that much trouble with them, but they were a good fight. Burnt Ivory King, amazing arena, amazing soundtrack. It's pretty good soundtrack, and just a general really cool looking into the DLC. Dark Eater, my dear. It's just, you're fighting Godzilla with this one. How can it go wrong? Eldritch, the big pudgy monster. Just a really good fight. Revisiting a lot of nostalgia with this one, but it's a good fight. The Belgorgol is a staple of Dark Souls. They deserve to be an A, no questions to ask. Champion Gundyr, an amazing high-intensity brawl of you and Gundyr. I love it. The Demon Prince. This is Michael Bay. This is a Dark Souls boss directed by Michael Bay. Full of explosions, high adrenaline, moving parts, a lot of camera movement. I loved it. I loved every moment of it. Chaos Witch Quelaag is the staples again. Big boob lady. Sin the Slumbering Dragon, amazing soundtrack. Again, top 3 soundtracks in all Dark Souls. Listen to it. Also, the boss fight in itself is pretty legit. It's one of the best dragon boss fights. Is this the highest ranking dragon boss fight I placed? I think it is. Gwyn, Lord of Cinder. The soundtrack again, so good. Also, pretty legit hard boss fight. Then Soul of Cinder beat the shit out of me, and everything I said about Gwyn, Lord of Cinder, apply the same thing to Soul of Cinder. And of course, Manus, Father of the Abyss. What an amazing end to the DLC. Really good boss fight, really good design. It's just a fun chaos romp. Asylum Demon is on S tier. Welcome back, Mr. Baby Bedwetter, right at the end. Asylum Demon is S tier just because he's the poster boy for Dark Souls. You can't argue with that. King Artorias, similarly, really, it's an armor dude, but you fight him so... It's kind of like an anime fight. How can you not like it? Ornstein and Smough, another example of Dark Souls franchise success. Everyone loves Ornstein and Smough. You can understand why. They're a staple in the lore, they're a staple in the story, they're a staple in gaming and speedrunning. Everyone loves Ornstein and Smough. There's no introduction needed. Fume Knight, an amazing DLC. This is why I like DS2. There's so many good bosses in DS2, S and A ranked, because of the DLC. We have the Fume Knight, we have the Sin, the Slumbering Dragon, we have Manos, we have the Artorias. Artorias is DS1, never mind. I have the Burned King. There is so much good shit in the DS2 DLCs. That's why I love it so much. The Fume Knight is an amazing fight, an amazing arena. Sister Friede, Mamma Mia. All amazing fight. The cinematic is probably one of the best in the goddamn game. It's so good, so good. When the father gets really angry about the cereal bowl, Mamma Mia. The fight itself, the first and second stage are pretty okay, but the third stage it gets serious, so I recommend it. The Dancer is so high up because there are a few bosses in this series that have such an amazing theme to it. And Dancer, it hits all the notes. It's creepy, it's kind of beautiful and poetic. The movement, the music, the somberness of it, and the fighting itself is really cool. I had enjoyed it a lot, even though I did it first try. Never forget it, first try save. Dancer, easy. Then of course the top three, the big boys of them all. These were my favorite. Sir Alone on Dark Souls 2 was basically playing Sekiro, and I've never played Sekiro, so I'm talking out my ass. Nameless King, an amazing high intensity fight with a great setting, great soundtrack, great boss design. And then the big daddy of them all, the highest boss in all of Dark Souls, the best boss, Gale the Slave Knight. It was just, I fought him for like 10 minutes straight, loved every second of it, and I'd love to do it again even. It's such a rewarding boss fight. And that's it, my boys. We're done. We did it. Anyways, I'm running way over time. Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for participating. And well, if you want more discourse, these mad animals are on Discord. The links are down below. Feel free to join and just follow the rules there. You have to click on a button and the Discord page opens up. I'll leave all the highlights and all the bitterness of Nathan behind, and I'll see you boys tomorrow.